Hello, everybody. Welcome to our next episode of Colorway Wednesday. Today is a very special day as we are kicking off our Women's History Month, but also we have a very special guest with us, probably arguably like my first pageant friend ever, Alexandria Hearn. Obviously, I'll let her introduce herself more properly in a little bit. Um, but today's going to be a super fun episode. It's going to start off our next month. Obviously, Women's History Month is in March, but like I had to get my favorite suffragist on here. Um, so expect more guests and more fun throughout the following weeks. But for now, Lexi, would you like to introduce yourself?
I would love to. And I love that you just called me a suffragist. Like, stroke my ego. Okay. So, as Joy said, I'm Alexandria. A lot of people call me Lexy. Some people call me Lizard. It's whatever you feel like. I respond to anything. This is my 6th year in pageantry, which is so insane because I swear I just started like yesterday. First ever pageant was virtual. So, I live on the Erie Canal, which is like the heart of New York. It's gorgeous. Just turned 200 last year. I did a swimsuit in 6-inch heels on the canal path for my first ever pageant. And I feel like that explains who I am as a person because once you do something as weird as that, what can be so scary about then going into a private interview with judges or talking about grief and interview and then you hit them with the, oh, let's get overdose prevention centers in America. And by the way, I'm a big history nut. It's like, girl, who are you? So I'm a little bit of everything. I love Joy so, so much. She is, everybody keeps saying this about you. Anytime I see people talking about you, they're like, she's the embodiment of her name. And I'm like, that's so like, if ever there was a way to describe someone, it is Joy being the embodiment of joy.
Stop it. Stop it.
It's true.
My gosh, you charmer. You're just trying to get on the show 50 more times, and it'll probably happen.
I mean, I'm
Um,
available.
but with that being said, we're so happy to have you here. And by we, I mean me, but you know what I mean. Um, Today, we're going to go ahead and get into our little introduction to our coloring page section. So today we have this cutie patootie right here. Yes, lighting. Yes, focus. Don't work. Yes.
It's
That's
okay. I
fine.
got you.
Perfect. So this is my trail of colors. I actually couldn't find the specific artist, but I could tell after I did thorough research. I was like, these are literally all the exact same art style and the same like line patterns, and you can like see that these are very clearly technically hand drawn where lines meet. So this is for sure a human made coloring page. Shout out to whoever drew it. Um, but this week I am coloring with yet again my colored pencils. Yes, ooh ah, way too many for how little I typically use colored pencils, but I use them like every week now because I'm always using these. I'll find something soon. But Lexi, what are you coloring with?
I also have colored pencils. These are my little brothers, I think. They're just on my dining room table. And if you know me, you know my little lunch bag project. I usually use Sharpies for those, but I didn't think a Sharpie was the move for this. One, because it bleeds, but two, I wanted like a crayon or a colored pencil because these are so beautifully detailed.
Yeah. This is definitely our most detailed coloring page we've had so far, but I was like, it just feels fitting for what we're doing today. But with that being said, we can go ahead and get started coloring. I don't know about you. I'm going for like a kind of like 70s color palette just for funsies.
I
Um,
love how you described that.
oh my gosh, thanks. I mainly am thinking like, the fact that they used to have a really fun colored kitchen appliances in the 70s, and there would be like everything was teal for some reason.
Yeah, because teal's a great color.
Exactly. And that's what I'm going to embody here. We're going to play with coloring and with shapes. But
Oh,
with that being said, we're going to continue the talk show portion. And obviously, like, there are going to be times where we're going to be quiet because we are in the middle of coloring. Um, and that is okay for there to be pauses. But with that being said, I would love for you, Lexi, to tell us a little bit about your relationship with creative outlets, hobbies, all that stuff. I know, obviously, one of the things we bonded over is we both majored in something similar.
I wonder
So,
what that could be.
I wonder.
So, sort of as Joy just alluded to, I have a background in theater. I don't know when it started, but I vividly remember in my hometown, I'm from the southern tier of New York originally, and then we moved up here to Western New York when I was a bit older. But my little hometown always had Shakespeare in the park. And I can vividly remember seeing like A Midsummer's Night Dream and being like, wow, I don't know what this is, but I think it's awesome sauce. And then we got involved. I grew up going to like touring productions. I've been very lucky to see many a Broadway show, with my first being Anything Goes with Sutton Foster, Joel Grey, and Kelly Bishop. And she's now disgraced, but Laura Osnes, Rip Queen. I love her voice still. So even though I don't remember that because I was like 8 years old or 9 years old, I'm like, I cannot believe I, with my eyeballs, saw this killer cast. Like, what?
It's wild. I didn't even know that about you.
Yeah, I feel like I talk about shows I want to see a lot more than shows that I have seen, unfortunately. I think it's common knowledge. If you know me, I've seen Six 4 times. And that's kind of my, like, I will brag about that till I'm in my grave, I fear. I've been a fan of that show since they were at Edinburgh Fringe. And to see them go to, I don't know what you'd like call it, for it's the West End, but it's not on the West End. Like their equivalent of off Broadway, I suppose, to then
Mhm.
West End proper, to Hampton Court Palace, and to the new theater, and then go to Broadway and touring and all the places. Like that was so fun to follow and watch. And when I majored in theater in community college, because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to dance. I grew up a dancer, but I was never like racket worthy. One, I'm not tall enough, which is quite sad. They removed that height requirement now that I am past my prime. Very, very rude. But just like also, dance isn't typically a major you find in most colleges. So I was like, you know what? I love theater. Theater has always been my outlet because you may not know this. I'm terribly shy. I don't act it when I'm around my friends, but you put me in public and I'm like side eyeing the waiter, like, I don't want to order my own food. Can my mom or my boyfriend do it for me? I always feel bad when I see those memes about like, oh, the boyfriend won't let his girlfriend order food. I'm like, no, the girlfriend doesn't want to order her own food because she has issues. I'm a people person, but I'm not a people person. I'm not even withdrawn. I'm just me.
You're timid.
I'm timid. I'm timid. Once I get to know you, I come out of my shell, but it's just difficult. So loved theater. I am currently planning to go see Suffs when it's in Rochester. I'm so stoked. The outfit is planned. If you are in my area and you see me sitting in I think I'm like third or second row. We couldn't get in front row because season ticket holders beat me to it, unfortunately.
Naturally.
Because yeah, I'm like, I'm not that rich in life yet where I can be a season ticket holder for my local theater, but perhaps someday. I almost did it last year. That was almost my Christmas present because we had some good shows last year. But it's just time. Being in college, once again, you don't have a lot of time to go out. So, anyways, very, very thrilling. I love theater. I love the arts. I do love to draw and color and like craft, but I'm not very, unless you give me like this, a coloring sheet, I'm not the most artistic in the sense of talent. Like, I'm notorious in my family. I draw like a kindergartner, but I've always found like the visual arts to be very therapeutic. There's been a lot of loss in my family, and I've always turned to dance to cope. And then I actually started my lunch bag service project because my own mental health was kind of sucky at the time. And I was working in an old folks home at the time, and it was right during that first like major lockdown for COVID, where in New York we shut down for a few months and then we opened back up again, and then it was right back to within the independent living facilities. Like they
Hmm. We're having technical difficulties. Uno momento. Um, Yeah, Lexi's frozen. That's okay. This happens. I'm assuming she can't see or hear right now. If she can, this is unfortunate. Hopefully we'll get this situated shortly because that she was in the middle of talking. There she is.
I'm back. I'm so sorry. My boyfriend and I went out to dinner earlier, and he like pulled into our driveway, so my dad had to park in my mom's spot, and she just
Mm-hmm.
called me to ask for her spot back because she didn't realize that it's my father's car and not hers.
Understandable,
I was
understandable.
like,
Okay.
I'm on a live with Joy, and she goes, "Oh, bye."
Said, okay,
So,
well, you're no help. Fair
but
enough.
anyway, I think I was like talking about COVID and stuff.
Hmm. Talking about in the
So,
assisted living facility.
yes. So my residents, obviously, that's hard for anyone. But I noticed right around St. Patrick's Day, I was like, well, we're giving them their food in styrofoam, like to go boxes. And I know the teensiest bit of Irish because a nerd alert over here. And I wrote down Happy St. Patty's Day in Irish on their boxes. And I only did it for like, we did it in like halves. So there were two teams of two servers. Two of us
Hmm.
took half of the bottom floor, two of us took half of the first top floor, I mean. So I just did it for my like halves originally. And the residents were like, oh my gosh, who did this? We love this. And I just started like doodling on the boxes, like hearts, you are loved, all that. And
Yeah.
obviously, that's not going to like fix the situation, but they were so much happier after that. And there was a woman specifically who pulled me aside. She was like, I hear you're the one doing this. And I was like, oh, am I like going to get scolded? And she had like a basket. She'd cut out all the messages from the lids of the boxes to show me. And when I met my original service partner for the overdose community, Raw, they had brown paper bags that were giving lunches out in. And I had that same thought from when I worked in the old folks' home of, oh, I can't obviously fix the situation you're in now, but I can try to put a little love back into your day. And to this day, this is like 6 years later now, I started this right shortly after I did the old folks. They still don't, I mean, the other volunteers know it's me, but our participants don't. And there's something so nice about being anonymous because they genuinely will stop and they'll look at the bags. And I've been lucky enough to have bags sent to me from all 50 states and a handful of international countries. So when they see like you are loved from Australia, they're like, is this actually like legit Australia? And I'm like, yeah, somebody in Australia is thinking about you and is sending you love. And it just, I never, this sounds so cheesy. I never meant for it to like become a big service project. It was literally just, I was struggling. My cat, the love of my life, had just died. And I just could not handle it and college and all the things. And I was like, you know what? This is such a nice way to trick my brain into thinking we're okay again. And like, it's probably the most unhinged way to momentarily fix your mental health, but it worked. And it's nice that, I mean, I gotta be so honest. I gotta go deliver a bag of these bags to my service partner. They're just sitting in my foyer, but just who knew like a little brown bag could, I don't want to say change the world, but at least put a smile on someone's face.
Yeah. It's such a
That was
unique
a very
project.
long answer. It's like,
No, it's great.
it's my baby. I say this a lot about a lot of things, but like, if there's one thing I want to be remembered for, like, it's not the pageants, it's not my love of history, it's not like anything I will accomplish in this world. It is my bags. Like,
Mhm.
that was purely to honor my family and to try and help in what little ways I could. It was just like, it was a stage in my harm reduction journey where I wasn't comfortable with being around like the clean needles or learning about like some of the different things they do to help people. Which like I don't want to be too hard on myself because obviously we all grow as humans. So I was like, oh, this is a nice way to help, and it worked out great when I was doing pageants. I mean, I say this past tense just because I'm on a gap year right now, but like whenever you have to go into a school and they're like, we need a service project, you're like, oh, perfect. Like I can bring my bags, and it's really sweet to get kids involved.
It's also just a great thing to talk about, like, especially within pageantry, right? Like,
Yeah.
because you didn't come up with it as a, oh, I'm going to use this to try to gain this, like XYZ. It was genuinely just, you went, here's a problem I see, here's how I'm going to fix it. And that's what oftentimes a lot of the most impactful stories start with.
And I think too, I'm a fixer personality. If you have an issue, I want to try and help you realistically. I realized that when I was getting Christmas gifts from my family this year, was they all had some sort of not like a like my mom is a drink goblin. So I was like, oh, you have 3 drinks you take with you to work every day, but you don't necessarily have 3 hands to carry those in. So why don't I get you like a drink carrier and your favorite color? And that is like her favorite thing I've ever given her because she uses it every single day and like it works.
Yeah, that's fair. I love that. That's so cute.
It's so nice. And like purple's the color for overdose awareness.
Hmm.
And it's also one of like the big women's suffrage colors. So I love that these two very important pieces of like my story are just so beautifully blended together like that. And honestly, like, who doesn't love purple? It's one of those colors that just looks good on everyone.
Yeah, one of the few colors. Or at minimum, people feel
It's,
confident in it, and that's what matters.
yeah. It's
That's
all about at the
very
end of the
cute.
day, just confidence.
Hmm. That's what we love to see.
That in
Yeah.
itself is a journey.
Well, that's so it's always really fun like hearing people on this show actually like delve into how they've used art in the past.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone has their own unique relationship and journey when it comes to art and creative outlets and finding ways to take care of themselves while still not feeling like they're not doing enough and stuff like that. Um, but that being said, so you kind of touched on this briefly already, but I want to go ahead and like zoom in on it, I guess.
Yeah.
So you already touched on the fact that creative outlets can help your mental health. Like how, like what exactly made you discover this? Like how did you find that path that led you to, oh my gosh, this is something that I can do to take care of myself?
I think a lot of it was so on top of everything else, I am autistic. And unfortunately, I call it like the fly under the radar autism, where unless I'm necessarily like talking about something I'm deeply passionate about, or you throw me in a social situation, you're not going to realize that's what's going on with me. And that's not to say there's like a for sure look because it is different every single human. But for me, it meant like other kids were very cruel, but then I'd go to dance. And at dance class, we all started at the same ability, basically. And we all learned together. And it didn't matter if you were the most perfect dancer or maybe you still need some help. By the time you stepped on the stage for recital, we were one unit. And I loved that. Like, I had space to just be weird, be me, get my energy out. And like, I unfortunately didn't take dance seriously until like my senior year of high school. And I truly wish that I could have like locked in sooner because I am so passionate about dance. It is probably my favorite art form. I am sat when UDA Nationals rolls around, but like talent wise, no girl. But like, I had my first loss my sophomore year. There were people in my family who like died before then, but that was the first major one. And all I wanted when that happened was to go back to dance. And I found that at dance, even if my head was sad, my body could still move. And it was like the outside world doesn't exist. And there's a Tim Hortons across the street. So my friend Melissa, who I call Farmer, we would go walk to Tim Hortons. It like really my senior year when my grandmother got sick and then ended up dying. We were there every week. And depending on how stressed out I was, the size of the drink I bought would be big or small. And it just turned into like this very I go to dance, I get my Tim Hortons, and those are my two forms of therapy. I just like it was so funny. I was in another dance production when my paternal step grandfather died. And the girls I was dancing with were like, if you need time off from rehearsals, please tell us. We know this is not hard. And I was like, no, 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 no. I would like more rehearsal, please. Like my routine put me in, coach. Let me come to dance. Let me forget that there's a world out there. It just all always comes back to dance. And I think too, like when you go to the theater for 2.5 hours or however long that show is, you're not on your phone, hopefully. You're like watching the lovely performers. I went to the movies a few weeks ago and there was a gentleman on his phone like this close to his face the whole time. And it was so distracting. I was like, this is a cool movie. Why are we like not to judge, but it was a lot. So I just
Why'd
think
you
it
pay
like
for the ticket?
I don't necessarily think that I discovered that the arts and dance help as much as it discovered me.
Hmm.
It was like it was always there. I was always destined to be a theater kid. I was always destined to dance. It just was a happy accident. This is how I coped. And I turned to music a lot. I started learning to play piano and I would just teach myself on the keyboards in my high school. And it got to a point where the band teacher would just hand me the keys. No words needed. I would walk into the room and he's like, "Here you go." I was like, "Thanks." And then out I'd go to practice room. Like it was sometimes I wish college was that way, but there's actual music majors who need those rooms. So
Ah, music majors.
there's a music business major I had a class with last semester, and he was
Hmm.
so fascinating because he'd be like, yeah, I have to like memorize this piano concerto and then like perform it. And by the way, I play like three other instruments and I'm doing our super hard marketing homework.
Yeah,
And I would just be like, you are Superman and I have so much respect for you.
music industry classes are typically insane. We have that major at my college, and I'm just like, I don't know how you people do it. I say as if
It's
my major's easy, but you know.
I think a lot of people misunderstand like how quote unquote easy a theater degree is because yes, there's a lot of math and specifically accounting and marketing major, at least like at my university. And
Hmm.
yes, I struggled through all these math classes, but it is so much easier to take a math class than to be memorizing dialects. We spent a month learning dialects and I can't do any. Sometimes I can pull off an English. Sometimes I can pull off a Southern Belle, but it always turns English by the end.
Mm-hmm.
I have to like really be listening for a good while to like pick it up and do it.
That's valid.
It's so difficult. I can't like the musical theater majors at my school learned Irish dialects because they did a play set in Ireland. And
Fine.
like the switching from our standard New York, well, the one girl's Floridian, but you get my point. Like our
Yeah.
standard starter American accents to this beautiful Irish accent. And you're like, how? Teach me. I like sat in on a German one by accident once because I always like hung out with them. And they
Hmm.
decided there's like a little living room and then there's like all the theater classrooms. So I'm like in the living room with my MT friends, headphones on, doing homework. And next thing I know, I'm being handed a German dialect paper. And I'm like, I guess I'm shadowing this class now.
Obviously.
I was like, that professor is so kind to me. And he's been an extra in all kinds of like, he was in Pirates of the Caribbean as an extra. So he's like met Johnny Depp. And he's like, yeah,
Oh,
Johnny's a cool dude. And I'm like, Johnny? You are on a first name basis? Oh my God. It's so lovely to hear that these actors we all grew up with are actually like normal, nice human beings.
yeah. Or at
I
minimum,
get
they
so
could treat
scared.
people with like just respect at least.
Right? Like I grew up with treat others how you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I like to think I've never said anything with ill intention. I'm very like, oh, let me try to be a good person because then people will be good back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, like sometimes the internet is a hard place to be. There have been some words said where I'm like, that wasn't the kindest response to this person I'm reading in the comments here. Like, let's exercise some kindness before we speak, especially with like I thankfully have never encountered it myself where somebody's like, "Oh, you talk about drug users, like they don't deserve anything." But I've seen it with, like the nonprofits I've worked with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, these are still human beings, friends. Like, let's not be judgy. Let's be kind.
Yeah.
Just we never know what others are going through.
No.
And the last thing you want when you're having a bad day is somebody to like be mean to you.
Which is always the days that it happens.
Always, always.
And that's okay. I mean, it's not
You
okay,
just
but at the same
like
time, it's like, eh.
I kind of give it back to them a little bit now. Like, there was a moment where a classmate was very rude to me. I started getting migraines recently, as of like a couple months ago, and they're so debilitating. And we were presenting in my senior seminar class, and my one peer is like, okay, like, this is a drink that will cure like all headaches, including migraines. And as an aside to my teammate, I was like, oh my gosh, that'd be awesome if this was like a real product. And he
Mhm.
goes, it is. And I'm like, what? And he goes, it's called water. And I was like, water doesn't help migraines. And I'm like, normally I wouldn't snap at someone like that,
Yeah.
but it came out of nowhere that he was just like rude. And I'm like, I'm not gonna just sit here and let you like be rude without giving it back a little.
Yeah, that's fair. That's so
My
wild.
professor heard me and like didn't say anything, so I suppose maybe it was like ruder in my head than it was in real life. But I was like, why are we choosing to not be kind right now?
Some people are just like that, I fear.
Oh, couldn't be me.
Fair. That's one of the fun things about the arts. You encounter all sorts of different people.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a relief not being in theater school anymore. Like I will always love theater, but that was never meant to be my career path.
yeah.
So on one hand, like I'm so happy and grateful to not be a traditional theater kid anymore, but it's also I almost feel like people have forgotten that was part of my identity. Like everybody always asks me about pageants, and I'm so
Mhm.
grateful because oh, my phone's falling. Obviously, love the pageants. Like I chose this life, but I'm like, guys, I have other interests and things, and I have a whole another degree. People are always shocked by that. They're like, "You have another degree?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm older than you think. Like, I'm flattered you think I'm a little itty baby like you, but trust, friends, like, I'm at my midlife point this year. Oh,
It's
isn't
crazy.
it wild? Like, I think my midlife crisis is the FOMO I have that I'm not competing anywhere this summer. I want to try and go watch Miss New York because and I think a lot of people get this wrong about pageantry the way they do theater school, is the girls you meet are genuinely so kind.
So lovely. Yeah.
And my Flooney girls, I don't like to be touched. Like if you
Mhm.
touch me and I'm upset or I'm not expecting it, I will probably like look at you funny or be like, don't touch me.
Valid.
And I always feel guilty after because I'm like, I don't mean to like yell at you. It's just a ingrained like you startled me situation.
Yeah.
So my Flooney girls were like, hey, we know you don't love being touched. Is it okay if I hug you? And I was like, whoa, nobody has ever asked before. And I was so flabbergasted by what's probably like the most basic way to treat someone. But I was like, of course you can hug me. Like,
Mhm.
It's fine. I anticipated there'd be some hugs. At first, it was awkward because you walk in as like the rookie and you're like, I don't know anyone.
Mhm.
POA, I'd walk in and I know everyone
Yeah.
because that's just like, I know it sounds crazy to say I grew up with those girls when I only competed with POA for 4 years, but like, I truly feel like POA was like my home, my upbringing.
Mhm.
Because, like, let's be real, you can grow up as many times as you want. And the lessons I learned in that system are just top tier. So it was really hard going from like our first time together when we just slow-mo ran at each other and it was awesome. I then go to Miss America and I'm like trying to put names to faces because
Yeah.
everybody's like in their casual clothes. And I'm like, oh, who is who? I was like not processing anything. But then, I like found my little seat, and by the end of rehearsals, I'd had my little, like, we were all together. There was a cat in the building, like, this cat lives in the theater.
Mhm.
And we were like, who is this orange cat that came out of nowhere? We love him.
As you should.
Uh, I was like, this is my sign that I have found my new home because I love cats, and my little brother has an orange cat who he was asleep on my bed when we started, but he's gone now. So I'm like, "Aw." Like, I was missing my cats, so now there's a cat at my theater.
Ah, so
It's like,
sweet.
normalize bringing your pet to a pageant because I wanna see it.
As you should.
I wanna cuddle the baby.
I know that like obviously I was following along whenever you competed in Flooney, but do you want to talk a little bit about like what exactly Flooney is? Because I know that there may be people watching who are like, what are they talking about? And just like talk a little bit about
Yes.
your experience with like, because I know that was a super fun weekend for you, so I'd love to talk about what that was like.
Yeah. So, Flooney is Miss Finger Lakes in upstate New York. There are just 2 local titles in the Miss New York system for Miss America. Finger Lakes is like we literally have glacier formed lakes that look like fingers. There's 5 of them: Cayuga, Seneca, Onondaga, Oneida, Cuca, I want to say. Canandaigua. Canandaigua is technically one too. So there's the Finger Lakes. So all
Mhm.
the like areas around it, like the Finger Lakes region, and then upstate, in my opinion, is anything north of Poughkeepsie, which is
Okay.
like the Hudson Valley. It's like an hour from NYC, but a lot of people get very passionate and very particular. So these locals are open to any girl from anywhere besides the 5 boroughs in Staten Island. It's the only local for us girls who don't live in the city, so it's bittersweet because when I first started competing in pageants, there were so many locals. And I always thought, okay, when I'm ready for Miss America someday, I can just be at a local a weekend like all the Missouri and Oklahoma girls I know do. But
Hmm.
it's not the reality, and that's okay because I wouldn't trade Flooney for anything. It was taking place in the cutest town called Homer. And my mother and I were driving around the town before like going to the theater because there are so many beautiful old homes. And I'm an old house like fanatic. I love them. And
Hmm.
we drive by and I see a historical marker at the one house and I'm reading it and I'm like, childhood home of, and then I shout Amelia Bloomer. She's a suffragist. She's the one who introduced Susan B. Anthony to Elizabeth Cady Stanton. So seeing that, I'm freaking the freak out, which probably isn't great for my mother who's driving.
Oh.
But she like pulls, does a little U-E. We pull over so I can take a picture of the sign. And I was like, this is so cool. I wonder if the people who live here are as excited about it as I am. And I was like, that's a good sign to me that these, like, my suffragist roots are here. It was a beautiful town. It was right outside of shoot. I'm blanking on the town name. I want to say Cortland. It's Cortland in New York. We have a great theater there for my theater kids. And downtown Cortland looked so much like my hometown. And I was like, this is awesome. This is so just amazing. And then, I get to the actual pageant itself and everybody is so nice. We're in like sweatpants, all of us. And these beautiful women that I've only seen like on Instagram are now in front of me and they're like, "Oh my God, Lexi, hi." And I'm like, "You know who I am? Like, what do you mean you know who I am?" And then they're so understanding and kind and like everybody's zipping each other up. And one of our girls unfortunately got food poisoning pretty bad, hit her like right before fitness. She didn't go on for opening number. She powered through for fitness. And then it was just to a point where she could no longer safely do it. And I was so devastated because this is like the kindest, nicest human. And it's really hard to see somebody who you feel is your friend have to like back out like that.
Hmm.
And she, of course, I saw her the next morning, thankfully, and she was okay then. And she was like, "I'm disappointed, but you know what? There's always next year." And I was like, "Yes, but I think if this happened to me, I would be devastated
Yeah.
because, like, I don't even want to think about it. God forbid, that would be awful." So it was just like the most amazing introduction to Miss America. And you hear so many things about Miss America before you go, where
Hmm.
they're like, "Oh, it's cutthroat," or "Oh, like it's not what it looks online." And
Hmm.
I don't want to invalidate anybody's experiences, but for me, it was exactly what it looked like online. There really were scholarships awarded to the girls who like won them. They Our social media director for Flooney is actually the person who taught me everything I know about social media. So to get to like talk with her now, they call it the Flooney fam. So once you've competed, whether you win or not, you're kind of with them forever. And so I'm in the little group chat of social media ideas and I can send my things to her and I'm like, "Hey, does this look good?" And she's like, "Oh, like tweak this or yes, that." And it's so supportive. We each got to bring a little raffle basket to raffle off. So of course I brought stuff from Fizzy where I work. And it was just like the most. My one complaint is I did trip a little on stage right before crowning because it was a very small backstage area and I was rushing.
Hmm.
But that is like a me problem and not at all a them issue. It was caught on camera by the dance company we had as featured dancers.
Yeah, it was.
And like I would have posted it to the internet anyway because I'm very like I call it my oopsies. This is not the first time, nor I'm sure the last time I will do something a little uncouth on stage. I once said I'm putting the fun back in funeral on stage. I wanted to be a funeral director at the time, and I meant it more in the sense of like I'm a funny personality. I think I'm funny. Like I want to make you comfortable. I don't want you to be afraid of the funeral director taking care of your person. But the way it came out was just not that. And you can see me like pause after I say it on stage where I'm like, "What did I just say?" Like there's these moments and the one pageant there were like 3 oopsies. And thankfully I was an outgoing queen because my golly, I probably would have been blacklisted otherwise. But you never know when I'm on stage and you put a microphone in my hand, what's going to happen.
Fair.
It's so I was so sad I messed up my onstage question. They asked me like about stepping outside your comfort zone, and I should have talked about more of like not just as an autistic person, but like as grief girl, as a college student, all these things. And I was just like, yeah, comfort zone was not my finest, but like for being my first time doing onstage question in a very long time, it's not too shabby. I
Honestly,
never
hosting is harder than it looks.
It's very intimidating because everybody's like, "Oh, there's no right or wrong answer," but obviously there's like better answers than like what I oh my goodness, I'm a hot mess express today. My phone keeps falling off its thing, so I'm just like knocking things over.
It's okay, it
It's
happens.
fun. Oh, this is authenticity right here, friends.
Yeah, it is.
But truly loved my experience. I will say confidently I will be at Miss New York next year. Like I want it so bad. Whether I won Miss Finger Lakes, Miss Upstate New York, or I took an at-large title, I would like to be competing for Miss New York next year. Just to, who doesn't want to say they tried it once, you know?
Yeah. Well, because
I
at the
have
end of the
like,
day, if you don't try, you don't know.
right. And I have like my dream title in my head that is like the final boss of pageant titles I could ever, like when I'm picking my titles in a sense. I
Hmm.
felt like I did so POA, I got to choose my title twice. And that was such a fun experience too. I would like ask on my little Instagram close friend story, like, guys, here are my 3 ideas. What do you think? And I almost did East Coast the year I was Empire instead of Empire. But I was
Really?
like, yeah, I really looked at East Coast because that was the original like secondary title to New York. When I first competed, I was crowned by Miss East Coast. So I was like, oh,
Oh.
that'd be a really cute way to like go back. I thought that was my last year, like win or lose. I did not think
Mhm.
I could afford a 4th year with POA.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, what a beautiful ending. But there was whispers that we were going to get an East Coast pageant back. We didn't know where, but somebody told somebody who told me. So we were
Mhm.
like, my friends and I were kind of like, okay, well, if that is true, I don't want to be Miss East Coast then because what if they do bring back East Coast and then like I couldn't compete for that title again if I was able to afford POA again before I aged out?
Yeah.
And then it was between Excelsior, which is our state motto, and Empire. And this was when the Empire State Building was like taking over TikTok. So I was like, you know what? I want to be Miss Empire State, and my slogan will be the Empire State Strikes Back.
Hmm.
So my
Hmm.
mom like made the t-shirts, we picked the slogan. That was my from day one like mantra. And then I got into a teensy bit of a tussle with some other girlies. We won't go into detail, but some drama went down and those girls saw my mom in the Empire Strikes Back shirt that was designed before the drama started. And they genuinely thought that like we were saying that because of Lem.
Oh no.
And we were like, no, this was our thing before. So it was unfortunate, but
Hmm.
also kind of funny because could you imagine? I'm like,
Making
yeah, let me
shirts because of beef.
like making sure these people know we're beefing. Let me make some shirts.
Yes.
I
I
was like,
was
I
watching
can't
a
say.
video essay yesterday about like early 2000s Disney Channel actors drama.
It's
Yeah,
insane.
it was fantastic. It was like an hour long. I'll send it to you later because I think you would love it. Um,
Please do.
but one of the things that they talked about was Kevin Jonas got involved in like this weird drama between Miley Cyrus, Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez, and some chick named Mandy. I don't remember who it was. Um, and he wore like a Team Selena and Demi shirt because I think it was Nick Jonas had dated Miley Cyrus before Selena Gomez. And so it was like he showed up to an award ceremony wearing that t-shirt and it was like big drama. I don't know. Oh, that was crazy. I just think like
That's
t-shirt drama usage is low key really funny.
I would like in another life. But like my mom had been making me t-shirts since the first year we went down to Branson. So it was
Yeah.
just like you if you've seen like I keep talking like I assume people like know who I am, but like if you've seen the vlogs I have on YouTube, you've probably seen like the merch my mom makes. I had one for Atlantic Coast too. And that one was so I always meant to do a post explaining why I was Miss Atlantic Coast as somebody who does not live on the ocean.
Mhm.
But like my grandma loved the ocean almost as much as she loved me and almost as much as she loved Niagara Falls. So I really wanted to honor her to the best of my ability. And I learned that the closer to the front of the lineup I can be, the better I perform. I
Mm-hmm.
can't watch other people go. Even if you're my best friend, I cannot watch you until after because I will get in my head.
Valid.
And it's like, it doesn't matter if you're the best competitor or maybe you're not that strong. I fall into the comparison trap quite often. I wish that were not the case, but it's all good, all good. So I was like, oh, that way, if I'm Atlantic Coast, I can be close to the front, but then
Mhm.
also like really honor my grandma. And it was my
Yeah.
mom who came up with it. So it was even sweeter. And we did Oceans Rise, Empires Fall. Because I'm like sitting there with Rose and my best friend, and I'm like, what can I say for Atlantic Coast that's like witty? Because, like, how can you ever top Empire State Strikes Back? That was so
Yeah.
like top tier. I'm not even a big Star Wars fan like that. Just like
But it's so on,
cultural.
like, not on the nose, but like people know it.
Right. Like it was a cute little pop culture reference. I'm a big pop culture girly. I'm a big 80s girly. So like it was fitting for me. And I was like, I can never top it. And we're just like listening to the Hamilton soundtrack at the same time. And she's like, Empires Fall because you're no longer Miss Empire State. I dropped the Empire State title early to take on Atlantic Ocean or Atlantic Coast, but like same thing, you know?
King George inspired your title?
Yeah.
Oh my
I love English
goodness.
history. So like there's always a method to my madness. Everything I
Real.
wear, nothing's an accident. Everything is planned. And I was kind of feeling some type of way because I knew I'd be bringing back votes for women. And
Yes.
people had been a little disappointed when I brought Niagara Falls back as Empire. And I was like, friends, I will always bring my baby back to the stage. Like, are you joking?
Yeah.
Whenever there's an opportunity. And I just, I wanted to go out with a bang. I knew it'd be my last year. This was before they've aged. Can I talk? They've
Yes,
since
you.
raised the age, of course, and I'm grateful, but I just don't honestly think I'll ever be able to afford it again. And I don't think I have it in me to go to Missouri again. It's a really long drive, and I go crazy in the car. I will miss Bucky's, I will miss Hertz Donuts, and I will miss the Mansion Stage and Pink Party. I hear Party in the USA now, and it makes me so emotional because, like,
Fair.
even line dances, I didn't know how to line dance until my first Pink Party when Miss Marissa was like, "Why are you standing here during the wobble?" And I was like, "I don't know how to wobble." And she's like, I'm gonna teach you." And
Yeah,
she
she
taught me.
is.
And like, I just, I owe so much of who I am to POA. And it's so hard that pageant culture is set up to where you're not supposed to talk about your past when you're in a new system. But I'm like,
Hmm.
I don't ever want to not be a POA girl.
Yeah.
Like that, I took some time this summer to regroup and just recenter. And I was like, it was never that I stopped loving POA. It was just I needed some separation. And I'm like back cheering for my girls 10 times harder. And every time that surprise, new queen's coming, I am there when the announcement drops. I'm like, okay, like who of my babies is going back?
Real.
Like when I saw Brooke was going back, I was like, I know that's right. I love that girl.
She's so sweet.
We just like we were in the hair and makeup room this year, and I fully had my eyes closed because they're like doing my face. I was with Pure Ask, and I hear, "Is that Lexy over there?" And I'm
Oh,
like, "Who is this?" And it was Brooke, and I was like, "Hi."
she's
It's
so
just like
sweet.
the nicest, kindest humans are at POA. Like if you want nice girl central, that's where you need to go.
No, literally.
And anybody
I
who disagrees needs to get a life.
I adore it. And hey, you've got Jamie and myself back this year, so that'll be fun.
Like I'm like an overbearing stage mom because I will be in your comment sections. I will be everywhere. You will be like, Lexi, go away. You can't comment every single post.
I'm not gonna complain. I've been trying to work my algorithm.
You're popping up more than you did last year, I will say for me.
Oh,
I don't know if
thank
it's
you.
because like I interact with you more naturally anyway or what,
Yeah.
but like I see you. It's very interesting because the people who pop up on my algorithm aren't necessarily people I heavily interact with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the type of person, I stop and I read every single post that comes across my feed.
Real.
And, like, I'll give it a like to acknowledge I've seen it. So, like, if I'm not liking your post, I'm just not seeing it.
Real.
Um, and I get sad sometimes because I'm like, "Oh, like, somebody posted this cute thing," and unless I'm looking at their stories, I wouldn't see it.
Or like they post it and then you see it 12 days later.
Right? I have gone and accidentally liked or commented on things from months ago because it's only just now, like, coming on my feed and I'm not paying attention.
That happens on my title holder account all the time.
It's always, like, I shouldn't say embarrassing because it's probably, like, not a big deal, but whenever that happens
Mhm.
to me, I'm like, I look like I'm, like, stalking this person,
Yeah,
and I'm not, I swear, I don't know.
I'm just
You're on my
existing.
feed. We're all just existing on this big old blue planet, like, let me
Real.
hype up the posts I see.
Oh, goodness. Oh my gosh, it's already 7:53, at least for me. It's not for you.
No, it's 8:53 for me. Time zones. You know what really messed me up, though? My
What?
second year with POA as Miss New York Ambassador, I came to Oklahoma for your state pageant to support Desi. Now, Oklahoma's an hour behind New York, and I already get messed up every time I come out there because obviously I'm used to an hour ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And then add in the pageant excitement. I don't want to go to bed. I want to get up and go see my friends. What the hey? Well,
Mm-hmm.
this particular year, it was daylight savings on top of everything else. So we went from 1 hour behind to 2 hours behind, and I was up at like 4 a.m., ready to go.
Nice,
My
nice.
boyfriend and my sister queen at the time were with me, and they both were like, go back to bed. And I was like, I can't. It's almost time to see my friends.
Fair.
It was sad, but you know what? That's like one of my favorite like POA stories is just the one year I came out there and it was freaking daylight savings and I was so messed up.
That's so valid. I think this last year, the Oklahoma Southern States pageant was the week after daylight savings.
Ugh,
You would
it's
think I
just
would
not
remember
enough
this was my
time.
favorite one, but you know.
The dates get muddled. The more
Exactly.
titles you have, the more you're like, what?
Yeah, and I
Like
fear I'm in 19 credit hours and knee deep in an honors thesis. So
I did
some details
18
come in.
credit hours last spring and I wanted to drop out.
Hmm.
It's I'm at like 15 right now, which is the bare minimum, and it's
Yeah,
still too much for me.
valid.
Everybody's like, "Why aren't you doing like another pageant?" I'm like, "Because I can barely do
Busy,
school right now."
busy. Yeah.
And like these aren't just beauty pageants. Like they want to know your GPA. I'm pretty sure the POA application asked about your GPA too. Maybe I'm
See?
misremembering. It's been 2 years, but like whenever it's like, "What are your hobbies?" I'm like, "Can I just say I don't know?" I'm like, "I don't this is my hobby."
I'd be like, "Ugh, hobbies? Let me add it."
I struggle so much with like, tell me about yourself, fun facts. Cause I'm like, what's a fun fact? What's a tell me about yourself? Who am I?
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of practice interview. Like I try to practice interview every night at minimum.
Yeah.
Um, and every time tell me about yourself comes up. Or like I think one of them is like, what do you do for fun? I was like, or like, why should you be the next national title holder? I'm like,
Because I'm
great
awesome.
question. I will answer that after I write an essay instead.
I like don't know how to brag about myself. Every interview coach I've ever had is like, girl, you need to like, you do so much and you
Mhm.
don't tell people. And I'm like, I don't want to brag. I don't want to be little miss toot my own horn. And they're like, no, that's the point.
Yeah, that's the point. But also don't get too braggy, otherwise then it's bad.
Right?
What
I'm
do you
like, I'm
want?
not too big for my britches.
What do you want from me? What do you want from me?
Oh,
Oh
I'm like,
goodness.
all my like go-to fun facts I fear wouldn't interest a normal person. Like I
Fair.
never can I don't know how that's just not my style.
And that's okay because having your own unique style is part of what makes you you, you know?
Yeah, that's how you end up the only person in your college class dressed up for Halloween.
Love. If it helps at
My
all,
prof-
one of my classmates showed up to class dressed as a Teletubby. Um, that was a very interesting day because we were doing a scene from a streetcar named Desire. Not me, I wasn't in it, but they were. Um,
oh yes, my favorite actors, Vivian Lee and the Teletubby.
yeah,
That's beautiful.
no, it
Well,
was
like
so good.
I had my votes for women dress for it because my school has some suffrage connections.
Mhm.
Allegedly, in my little delusional brain. Our colors are purple, white, and gold, just like the suffragettes. So like
Yes.
that's not a coincidence, and it was founded by some pretty social radical nuns. So like I don't know. Coincidence? I think not. But anywho's.
Yeah.
So like I wanted to wear my big old dress. And I thought, oh, like everybody will be dressed up because it's Halloween. Because people dressed up my first Halloween on campus.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And then I can't sit in a tight bodice all day in a big old skirt. So I changed for my other class. And my professor, I had him twice that day, comes in for the second class and he's like, you changed. I was like, yeah. He's like, where's your dress? I was like, it's under the table over there in a big old tote bag.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
nobody's dressed up. I felt like such a like loser.
Oh.
I was like, I'm eating this costume, but I am so sweaty at the same time. That dress is hot and heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't just casually wear it. You need to commit to like you can't go pee, you can't eat, you can't drink. You can't even sit in it really. I was like,
Yeah.
it's just not that type of dress. It's meant for twirling around on a stage.
Yeah.
And like
And
my
it looks
POA
good doing it.
girlies, when they
Mm-hmm.
s- when I brought it back and had the hair down, my hair was actually based on what Inez Milholland did her hair like for the suffrage parade in DC. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like having my little Inez moment on stage, and I'm about to go on for spokesmodel, and I'm shaking like a leaf. And I'm like, you are Inez Milholland. You are giving a speech on why women should vote. You are not Lexy about to talk about autism. You are not scared. And then I did my speech right, and I was so flabbergasted that I went into casual wear. I did my casual wear perfectly. So then for state costume, I was just so hype.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm on cloud nine. I'm ready. I did like mix up my words a little bit, but I still took home Miss state costume. So like,
I know that's right.
I look at that trophy. It's actually right here every single day, and I'm like, welcome home, baby. I ran over to Abby Dovey, who took it. It was literally me, Abby, back to me. So I like skipped over to her after, and I was like, thanks for taking care of it for me. And the other girl who was with us was like, and Abby's like, she's just playing. It's okay. It's okay. I was like, thank you, Abby, for being on my wavelength.
It's like, I promise I'm not throwing shade. I'm not. I'm not.
Right? I was like, if I had to like be decrowned momentarily by anybody, it would be Abby freaking Dovey because the nicest, sweetest, most angel human.
Yes.
I I was ready to cry when she won ambassador. There's photos of us from top five. They called me first, then they called her, and I'm like, ah, like peeking over everybody else to look at her too.
Yeah.
I was just so like that was my peak in pageantry, was my fourth runner up to ambassador. And I think people kind of forget that's where I came from. And that's why I reacted so strongly at nationals this year. It was
Mm-hmm.
never about anyone besides me. And like, I thought that my pageant days were donezo. And then I found out Miss America was so affordable, at least in New York, at least for me. I can't speak for everywhere, but
Yeah.
like, it was affordable. And who doesn't want money for college?
Right.
So I was like, sign me up. And they're so supportive and friendly. And I love that it's thought the OG pageant sashes from Miss America were inspired by the suffragists.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is. And they asked me in my interview, they were like, we know you want to talk about this. And I was like,
Yes. Yes, I do. Thank you.
oh. It was literally like the perfect interview because I walked in and I forgot you can give a little intro at Miss America. So I walk in, I'm like, hey guys, like, I'm Alexandria, you can call me Lexy, we're all friends here. And they giggled and I giggled. And I'm just looking at them like, and I went, oh, I get an intro here. And the one judge is like, I was like, here's my little intro. And then I looked at them like, okay, I'm done now. I,
You're like, I'm
like
ready.
all the perfect questions. Like they literally asked me every single thing I wanted to talk about.
Her.
And I was like, thank you, judges. I love you, judges. And there were times where I had them stitching in laughter.
Good.
And I was like, I know I just ate with that interview. And then my closer, I'm like, sorry I was so awkward. And they all start wheezing. And I was like, if you see me on stage making too much eye contact, please tell me. Okay, bye. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Skipped on out. It was great. Like they should not have let me get so close to those judges because on stage you can see them. They're like
Mm-hmm.
really close to you. And
Yeah.
POA, they're always so far back. So all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, hi judge. I can see your facial expression changing.
Yep.
I can see you like eating this up. Hello, friend. I was so like I was so scared of talent and then I did my talent and the crowd like screamed after and I went, like, what do you mean? I just dissed Autism Speaks and they were all like, get them. It was just so like, and the people who saw me like slip were like, and I went, I wanted to salute, but I was like, let's not make it obvious. We just fell. We're going to play it off.
Yeah. I'm glad it was
It
such a
was
magical time for you. I will say,
it
however,
was
we
so
are
healing.
unfortunately out of time. Um, this flew by really fast. So I guess that just means we have to have you on another episode at some point. Oh no.
Perhaps when I'm home from my study abroad.
Oh my gosh. That would be like so awful.
Oh, so terrible.
Um, coloring sheet check-in. I'm gonna finish mine afterwards because obviously.
Yeah, I was like, I was trying to go like one color at a time, and that was taking too much time.
It
But I
was
did my little suffrage flowers.
yes. Once I finish this, I'll be posting this on my story. I assume, knowing Lexi, she will do the same. Lexi, do you have any upcoming projects you want to shout out, or I don't know, social media?
There will be some exciting things because March, obviously, as Joy said earlier, it's Women's History Month, but it's also Irish American Heritage Month. And I am studying abroad in Ireland, in the homeland, this May for 2 weeks, which is why I'm not competing. So stay tuned for that in March. And then, of course, you can catch me back at Worthmore Nation this summer. I'm very excited for that. Otherwise, just kind of like on the fly, my lunch bag's always happening. Feel free to DM me if you want to participate with that. But I'm around. I'm always here to cheer people on. I'll be cheering Joy and Jamie on at POA, Mariana and the rest of my grief girls on. Most of them are like my Minnesota girlies are at Miss Minnesota. Nadia is at Miss New York. Em is probably going back to POA, it looks like. And then Cadence is giving up her national title. Caitlin's back at POA. I don't think I'm forgetting anyone. I think that's all my grief girls. Lainey's at Miss Minnesota too. Sorry,
Yeah.
Lainey.
Well, I mean, you said like a bunch of my Minnesota girls are going to Miss Minnesota, so I was like, ah, yes, Lainey is involved.
Yes. I have a lot of Minnesota girlies at this point. I should just
Right.
like buy a vacation house on Lake Superior and be a
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota girly with them.
That's what I'm saying. But, oh my gosh. Well, it was lovely having you.
This
I'm
was
going to go ahead and end the
awesome.
live stream. But thank you so much for joining us today. I hope we get to see you again, and I can't wait to see what the next month holds for you.
Very exciting.
Yippee! I love you.
I love you more.
Stop it. Okay, bye.